All right, so for our mini teaching tip this week, we talked about pragmatics. And so first we're going to look at some of the challenges that our ELL students are facing when we talk about pragmatics. The first one is going to be dealing with those social norms. So social norms differ from culture to culture, and based on their native culture, our ELL students may struggle when they're learning and processing through American social norms, and so that might be something that there's a little bit of pushback when we're teaching them through those social norms, but it's just going to be something that they struggle with. But we're going to recognize that and help them work through it. Another struggle that our ELL students may have with pragmatics is these slang words that are present in English, and we want them to know that they're present, but we also want them to know when it's appropriate to use them, who it's appropriate to use them with, and when it's okay, what setting it's okay, all those things. But students may struggle because they might know a slang word, but they might not know the context that where it's appropriate to use it. And another challenge that our students face is when it comes to reading and writing these pragmatic skills. It's a little bit harder for them to understand. When they're talking to someone face to face, they get those clues from facial expressions or emotions that are very present and body language with a person, so they're able to understand those pragmatic skills being used. But in reading or writing, it's a little bit more difficult because they have to infer what people are feeling based on the different punctuation marks, how people are talking, and so it becomes a little bit more difficult for the pragmatic skills when we're talking about our reading and writing.
So our lesson that we came up with was at the start of the week. The teacher will go over the pragmatic topic, which they are in this bulleted list, and explain the activity that are paired with the cards, which are in our lesson plan. We will do an example in front of the class to model this. So for problem solving, this will be talking about social appropriateness, morals, and manners. Asking questions, we'll be talking about having the students stay on topic while also listening to the speaker. Making comments is really important for kids to understand that they need to also be involved in the conversation while staying on topic and listening, because I know a lot of students can get off topic very easily, especially when they're paired with their friends. So just making sure they know when it's needed to stay on topic. Taking perspective, it's important for our students to take in consideration other people's thoughts and perspectives on things, because not everyone has the same thought process, and this is where a lot of learning takes place. And then following social rules. These are teaching them about social norms, when and where they can do certain things, and that type of thing. After the topic has been covered for that day, the teacher or you will put the activity cards in an area of the room where the students can access and practice them throughout the week after they're completing assignments or just struggling and they really want to work on that concept. This will be available for them to use. And then each week the teacher will review the previous skill that they have been learning, and then they will go off of that. So we are also going through what we had already talked about while building up on that material and making sure they have understood everything. So our differentiation is at the emergent level, the students should be able to complete the pragmatic activities with their peers, but their cards will have pictures. This will help with the comprehension of what's going on. They'll be able to have a pair or a teacher present to read them the cards if needed. And then in the intermediate level, at this level, the students will be able to complete the pragmatic activity with little help from their para teacher and without the pictures. So this is them still kind of working with their peers, just not a teacher or para. And the proficient level is they're kind of doing it on their own, little to no help. So the teacher is there if they really need it, but they don't need pictures. They don't really need their partner. They might get stuck on one or two things.
And so how our strategy and our lessons are going to help with the challenges that we mentioned at the beginning is that this lesson provides scenarios for appropriate social norms and how to respond to them. So we have some acting out going on in our lesson for our anticipatory set, and just throughout it, these social norms are being talked about, and it's just those are going to be repeated a lot so that our students are able to grasp them. And we're going to talk about, give some silly examples on those cards about times that when using slang isn't appropriate and when to use it, what places to use it, all of those different things so that our students are able just to kind of get a little bit more practice, letting them know, yeah, slang's okay, but we want to make sure that we have it in the appropriate context. And this lesson also helps with the reading and the writing connection because the students are getting that reading and that reading experience as they're reading through these cards and answering the questions that are on them, but also their peers are aiding them, and they're very with their expressions, with their emotions that they're showing as they answer the cards. And these cards are really amazing also because they're very expressive and they're detailed, which helps the students see what it looks like, a good example of what expressive writing looks like. So when they go and do the writing piece, then they're able to have a good example of that. So this is our lesson. The lesson plan is provided.